Vanity Fair received an honorable mention for They Were Sons. In it, 15 surviving mothers tell the stories of their children, all of whom were killed by police. Judges praised the project for painting, quote, a full picture of the men who died and what it means to lose them, and for showing the reader the human-shaped holes in the lives of their mothers. Our judges called it powerful first-person storytelling, unfiltered and unvarnished, and commended its ability to capture pride and pain at the same time. They said it provided a sense of all that lingers for families after the headlines and social media outrage passes. And they applauded Rita Amoka's self-effacement and courage. They called her work a profound exercise of journalistic responsibility and an act of refusal of the easy reporting path.
This is going to be a story for how many days? Less than a week. People will forget about us after a week.
NPR received an honorable mention for A Damn Paper, an episode of the Embedded podcast. It features reporters who survived the attack on the Capital Gazette newspaper in Maryland. A gunman murdered 5 people there in 2018.
I just don't know what I want right now, right? But I'm going to need more than a couple days of news coverage and some thoughts and prayers, because our whole lives have been shattered. I appreciate the prayers. I was praying the entire time I was under that desk. I want your prayers, but I want something else.
Judges called the episode a masterpiece of trauma-informed journalism. They said it cuts right to the heart and helps listeners understand the real impact of violence directed at this profession and at the democratic institution. They praised the team's persistent, careful, and caring touch, as well as its straightforward, unblinking approach, from the reporting to the language choices to the structure to the ways it demystifies local news.
هذا البحر الأزرق اللي الناس بتتغنى فيه اتحول لمقبرة.
J'ai un bateau à gauche.
Okay, empty boat, I think.
Most probably this boat has been intercepted by the Libyan Coast Guard.
Oh yes.
Okay.
There are definitely people in there, yeah.
The Outlaw Ocean Project received an honorable mention for the secretive prisons that keep migrants out of Europe. It investigates the European Union's shadow immigration system that sends African migrants to brutal Libyan detention centers. Judges described this project as an incredible, daring feat of journalism. They said it took us to the heart of a huge policy issue, uncovering details of abuse and holding authorities to account. They commended the reporting team for zeroing in on a governmental entity that can do violence to so many people, while also zooming out to the climate migration crisis, one of the biggest stories of our time. The Los Angeles Times received the DART Award for Disease, Inequity, and Resilience in South LA. It portrays the ravages of the pandemic during the Delta surge. Judges praised this reporting team for shining a light on compounding tragedies and unfairnesses, and putting together a riveting package of love and loss in the face of adversity. They applauded Joe Mazingo for the depth of his reporting and for refusing to describe his subjects as victims and instead portraying them as warriors who are fighting hard battles, whether it's against COVID-19 or structural racism. They also hailed the compassion, care, and visual power of Francine Orr's photography, and they said it's clear how hard this reporting duo worked to gain the trust of the hospitals and their sources, whom they depicted as heroes of stories that are about survival.
La primera vez que fui a búsqueda, pues no sabíamos qué identificar un olor ni nada, pero como todo el tiempo he estado en el campo, sé identificar los olores de la tierra húmeda, seca, y sé identificar también el olor de la tierra a un olor diferente. Y se sabe el olor de un animal al de un ser humano, no es el mismo olor, pero sí son olores fuertes, pues, pero se identifican, y en eso escarbamos y encontramos un tesoro. Entonces yo dije, si este olor tiene la tierra, que tiene un cuerpo o otra cosa, pues tenemos que identificar los olores.
The Atavist received the Dart Award for A Feast for Lost Souls. It tells the story of a woman-led collective of trackers searching for the remains of their loved ones, the disappeared of Mexico. And it shows how these survivors live with loss through incredible action. Judges described it as a deeply moving piece that stirs our collective empathy and gives voice to the unspeakable. They praised writer Annalise Jolly and photographer Zahara Gomez Lucchini for letting their subjects grieve and breathe in their own time, and for providing the reader with a real connection to their pain.